Hi, thanks for joining me for this WRR 101 Focus on the Arts. I'm Amy Bishop. And Aurora is a Dallas-based public arts organization working at the intersection of art, technology, and community while supporting artists who explore the boundaries of art and technology. They have their Video Art Night coming up in Dallas, April 17th at the AT&T Discovery District. And then for the first time in Denton, June 12th at Quakertown Park. And joining me right now to fill us in on these two very exciting events are LD Thomas Aurora Board Chair and Christina Hahn, part of the Aurora Van Selection Committee, and a multidisciplinary artist and founder of the Dallas Asian American Art Collective. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely. So how about we start with an overview of Video Art Night. What is it and why should people come out to it?
Well, I'll start and then I'll turn it over to Christina. Video Art Night is an open air exhibition for some of our region's most fantastic artists. The medium is, as it says, it's a visual video medium for the artist, and it is one of Aurora's most exciting, electrifying events. I mean, you have lights, you've got color, you've got vibrancy. It is probably one of my favorite nights of the year. And so you'll get to experience all of these different setups of these artists and what they are trying to portray and give off. And it's just a really wonderful, free, family-friendly event. I want to point that out, that it is free and it's open to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is one of my favorite activations during Dallas Arts Month as a whole, because it's outdoors and the medium of video art and specifically new media is a way to engage the public in a way that's really not seen often, because we often think about art through the lens of fine arts, which is usually paintings and sculptures that are found in institutions. So the beauty of Video Art Night is that we are making art a lot more accessible. So last year I had the honor of being selected as one of the artists for 2025. And it was really just such a life-changing experience to be able to see my very short film on the gigantic AT&T light up billboard. And then also on top of that, Aurora does a great job in making sure that all of the artists that are featured are still continuously featured throughout the night. So each of the artists also had specific panels that were maybe around 10 feet tall that were all around the plaza as well. So it's such a good time. It's so family friendly, all age groups, and it's super, super cool.
So go into a little more detail about what exactly the audiences can experience. Like, describe these video projections and the types of videos people might be seeing, and what are they going to be projected on in the various spaces?
So I can speak a little on that as a member of the selection committee. So I also do want to give a shout out to my co-committee members, Thomas Fulmer, who's a curator at the Warehouse, which is an incredible arts institution here in Dallas, and also Shalissa Perry, who is the CMO of downtown Dallas. And so the three of us, we worked to go through 58 total submissions of artists. And then 18 were ultimately selected. Some stats that I do want to share out, because I'm very proud of this, because I'm always trying to amplify Texas artists. It's that 55% of our submissions were all from North Texas. And then 38% of the total were from North Texas specifically. So what Aurora means to this region and how we're able to amplify Texas talent is really, really incredible. So some of the selections that I'd like to share out with y'all and give a little bit of a teaser in terms of how visually vibrant they are. 3 different artists. So we have Leili Arai Tavalai. She created the piece called Kicking and Screaming. So this is a multimedia collage of personal documents and artifacts where she actually hand animated everything frame by frame using an office copier, a ballpoint pen, and colored paper. And so it's like such an incredible, vibrant visual. She is actually based in Dallas, Texas, so really love to amplify her. My one of my other favorites was Moon Moth Cosmic Portal by Virginia Montgomery. So this is also a Texas-based artist, but she is from Houston, and it is an incredible collage of real Luna moth footage, where they are transforming and coming out of their chrysalis and flying. And then there's also beautiful animated parts that the artists themselves have included, and it's just blue, white, green, super vibrant, interesting patterns of real life footage. So that's an interesting contrast from the handmade ballpoint animation I was talking about earlier. And then the last artist I want to highlight of the 18 incredible artists that we have total is Laura Hyunji Kim. So she is actually not only an incredible artist, but also a professor of art and performance art at UT Dallas. And her piece is super funny. So you would not expect comedy because you think like video art is a very serious thing, but it's very playful, it's engaging, and sometimes the comedy is the point. So her piece is called Soul Recycling with Raccoons in Real Time. So it is actually what it sounds like. She is embodying the perspective of a raccoon who's also a soul cycle instructor. So you can see in real time, she's like pedaling really hard for like 5 minutes straight while having all these really fun visuals and jokes that she's written that all kind of study what does survival look like in community for humanity, but from the perspective of a raccoon. So we have three very different artists, but they're all from Texas. And of course, we had other folks that'll be featured from New York, Minnesota, California as well. But those are some of the three that I wanted to give y'all a teaser for.
Quick question. Do these videos all contain sound in some way, whether it's dialogue or music or both, or are some of them completely silent?
So the requirements for this year was that it had to be independent of sound. That's only so that it could give a more harmonious experience because it is a bit chaotic if you have 18 different artists all with their own audio plugin. So even though the original works, some of them do include sound, in terms of the public viewing, it won't have sound. But that works pretty well because we usually have an incredible DJ controlling the vibes of the night as well.
And do these artists create these like as site specific installations, meaning when they are creating this art, is it with the idea that it's going to be projected on a huge surface somewhere, or is it that they create this art and then later they find out it'll be used somewhere very big?
So I would say it's kind of a mix. So often a lot of these video artists have already made the work and they try to change it so that it fits the requirements of the festival, especially in terms of festivals that have a very quick turnaround or like submissions period. For myself, when I directed my short film for Aurora, I actually knew what the space was going to look like. And so I designed my film based on the space. And so it was really engaging to see one of my best friends who I cast as our main actor, gigantic up on screen with a pure black um, background, and then all of my different figures emerging from his head. And so even though I designed it for Aurora, then I was able to actually submit it with an original score to the Oak Cliff Film Festival, and it was also accepted there. So Aurora has really been a life-changing experience in terms of allowing me and many other artists to explore in the form of video art and new media. But once again, it really does depend. A lot of these artists, they had already had the work and it fit perfectly for the requirements. I think some were done specifically for Aurora 2026, but that's a rarer occasion.
My next question would be, or LD, go ahead before I go into my next question, please. If there's anything you'd like to add.
I just, it's a thing for me to notice patterns. And one of the patterns and words that keeps coming up is experience, right? It was an experience for Christina last year, and where this has taken her, it was a launching pad for her. I I know this is shocking to everyone. I am not an artist, right? But I am a lover and a supporter of arts, right? Because I love to see people do these things that I cannot do. And so I experience Video Art Night from a different perspective. And my experience walking through all of these installations, seeing all of these creative minds come to life, I am telling you, to all your listeners, anybody watching us on YouTube or listening to us on the radio, this is an event that you do not want to miss. For our team has curated an amazing collection of artists, and to have the opportunity to experience them in an open air setting at one time, it is something that you absolutely do not want to miss. It is an experience.
What's the typical length of each of these videos? I'm sure it varies, but what's the shortest and the longest?
So last year, I kept an eye on the timing because each of the artists get to be screened twice on the big screen, but then all of the smaller panels that were screened on continuously. So the shortest one was around 1 minute, and then the longest one was 17 minutes. But that was last year. This year, most of the videos, they range around 5 to 7 minutes long maximum.
Talk about why this event is important to our region, and why did you decide this year to expand it to Denton?
Yeah. I think art is important to the world in general, right? And so when we look at look at it on a smaller level, when we look at the Dallas-Fort Worth region and we go out to Denton, it's important, as you mentioned, and as you laid out, Aurora does public art, right? It brings the community together in a positive way. And what I love and what I tell people about my work with Aurora, a lot of people know Aurora for our lights and projections and all of that sort of thing. And it is a light in what some people may consider a dark time. And so for people to come together over art, over beauty, over creativity, I could not think of anything more important, right? To give us all a sense of community and safe space. And we decided to expand that into Denton because why not, right? Well, I actually went to undergrad in Denton, so I have Denton has a special place in my heart. But we have with the University of North Texas, we have so many young, vibrant artists coming out of there. That community is growing and vibrant. It was just a natural fit to expand Video Art Night there.
So to add a little more onto that, I feel that Denton really has the reputation of being the cool art sister city to Dallas. And of course, a lot of that comes from the fact that they have an incredible arts program through UNT. And so we have a lot of creativity over there. So being able to really support the artists over there, because a lot of the funding and the infrastructure does exist in Dallas. I think this is a better, more equitable way of distributing the resources that we have in North Texas. So that brings me to the earlier question you had in terms of what does it mean for artists in the region. So actually around 62% of all of our submissions were from the South. And that includes, of course, a majority of us being from Texas, but also from Georgia, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Alabama. And so this is really important because unlike our East Coast and West Coast counterparts, the South doesn't have as much of an arts infrastructure and funding and a readily available public programming in the arts for our everyday people. And so the fact that we are doing something that is specific to supporting a lot of the artists from our region and giving them a great platform, and not only that, Aurora pays their artists. We give out artist honorariums. I was a recipient of an artist honorarium, and even for my time as a curator here. And so the fact that they are treating artists with respect, giving them a platform, and also asking them to come back to work with them in the future, I think they are really building this pipeline of creative talent that is really good in terms of establishing Dallas and Texas as the next arts hub in this country.
For both of you, tell me a little bit about your history with your involvement with Aurora. Like, how did you find yourself where you are today? Because you obviously both of you have clout because they picked you two out to be my interviewees. So,
Oh, wow.
tell me about your history with the organization.
Well, I will start. I will start. I started as just what I like to call an Aurora fanboy, right? I attended a biennial, which is happening in the fall. I want to encourage everyone to go to our website, which is dallasaurora.com. Make sure you're on our newsletter so you can stay up to date on all of our events. But anyway, I went to our biennial and I just loved it, and I just promoted it and told everybody, if you miss this, and you have missed the experience of your lifetime. And Valletta Lil, who is near and dear to me and a lot of people in the arts community, she reached out to me and she said, hey, since you love this so much, why don't you consider being on the board? And when I really learned what Aurora was about, when I really learned that it was about supporting artists with more than just words and supporting them with more than just exposure and actually paying artists so that they can continue to create. When I learned that it was about creating free public experiences and bringing communities together, there was no way that I could not pour what little free time I have into such a worthy organization. And so I joined the board. Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. Must have been about maybe 4 years ago. And last year they asked me to be president, after working on several committees and several other wonderful programs that Aurora has, like ArtQuest. Just want to throw that out there. And it has been one of the highlights of my life, to be quite honest with you. To see the smile on kids' faces when they come to events like this, to see people connect in different communities and come to different places and highlight wonderful art. This is where I met Christina last year, right? Because I was just so enamored with her event. I mean, excuse me, her installation and her piece. We stood there and talked for a while. And so it connects people, and that is so needed today. So that's how I started with Aurora. That's how I ended up with Aurora. And those are some of the reasons why they can't get rid of me.
I mean, yeah, I hope that Aurora can stay for decades and decades to come as we continue to draw more creative talent here into the South. I got involved when I submitted my work last year, but actually I had seen a gigantic performance by Aurora, I think back in 2017 or so, where they were doing weird art and it was really cool. And I think that's the marker where it's like you are providing a perspective that the audience, that the everyday Dallas person would never have seen before. So the art that stays in my mind is actually it was super cold that night too, but there were a bunch of performing artists all in the same blue swimsuit with rubber caps and goggles. And then they had somehow filled an entire
Oh,
stairwell full of
oh,
foam.
yeah.
Yeah. And then suddenly they had all of these inflatable dolphins and they were doing a crazy choreography. And I was like, this is weird. And I could not believe that Dallas was capable of producing this type of art. And so that just sat in my mind for almost like 10 years until I was actually an artist in residence at Cedars Union. And then Aurora has a good relationship with them. And one of the members of Aurora, so Corey Moulton, she's incredible. She saw my work and she was like, you need to apply. And I had never really done large scale video work before. But because she said, you need to apply, I actually got a crew of all Dallas-based artists, including my cinematographer, Jorenzo Malari, and my lead actor, Mario Zia Chang. Everyone was an artist of color from North Texas, and we filmed it in 5 takes. And then from there, it was suddenly on the big screen. Actually, I have it as my background.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty
Yeah,
phenomenal.
and
It was pretty.
yeah, and so and then all of the masks I had hand sculpted, and I choreographed the whole thing. And so um that was projected, and it was a life-changing experience. And especially for my friend Mario, who plays the lead actor, he was just standing next to one of the platforms where he was being projected, and suddenly there was a line of little kids wanting to take pictures with him. Yeah, so that was super beautiful. And then it really helped launch a new medium within my art practice of going into film. And like I mentioned before, the fact that Aurora allowed me to participate in Oak Cliff Film Festival at the historic Texas Theater, it truly, like, it's been a career builder. And I feel that many arts nonprofits, that is the goal that they wish to be able to touch, but Aurora is actually doing it. And so that's how I was involved last year as an artist. And this year they asked me to come aboard the selection committee. And it's truly been so wonderful being able to help shape the visual palette, pun intended, of Dallas and North Texas in that way.
What else do these evenings include? You mentioned you've got a great DJ there to spin some tunes for everyone. Are there other attractions that people can partake in?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are going to be at the Exchange down at the AT&T Discovery District. So there's food there. We also have a VIP Aurora Video Art Night benefit. So if you go to our website, you can check that out. There's some perks for some VIPs. So it's a whole experience. It is, listen, I cannot think of a better date night in April. Just want to throw that out there. Okay. It's a Friday night from 7 to 10. I mean, for those people who, this is your time to figure out what to do for date night, could not think of a better event. You will definitely stand out. You'll get all your Instagrammable pictures and, make all your friends jealous. But it is a wonderful, family friendly vibe. So there's food, there's music with the DJ, there's incredible art, and it's a vibe. I mean, I can't figure out another word to say unlike any other. So it's an experience that you won't forget.
Do people just come casual? Do people dress up? Do people come in crazy costume? Is a little bit of everything? Like, what should people know
Yeah.
to bring, or how should they dress?
Yes. No. Yes.
They dress as dolphins.
We encourage people to come comfortable. Obviously, it's outside, so dress for the weather. Most people, like I said, it's from 7 to 10. It's downtown, so some people stay a little later and enjoy some of the shops and eateries that are still open at that time. But some people really get into it. We've had people come in the whole mirror ball suit thing, so however you want to show up and however you want to express yourself, I think that's part of the beauty. This is an opportunity for people to let their hair down, create memories with their loved ones, take a moment to peruse the art by yourself, kind of get an escape, have some fancy, or take it all the way and really immerse yourself. So come as you are.
Is there anything else
And
that
maybe some comfortable shoes.
Oh, absolutely. Comfortable shoes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you, like the older I get, the more important shoe comfort is than it used to be. I used to sacrifice so much comfort for shoes, and I'm beyond that now. So yes. Well, is there anything else that I have not asked you guys that you'd like our audiences to know?
Well, one thing I will say, if the audience hasn't picked up on this, when I told my story about how I got involved, and she told her story how she got involved, one of the things is Aurora in and of itself is a family, right? And I used to work in corporate America, hated when they called us a family. We're not a family. Aurora is a family. We were adopted into the Aurora family. And I think it's important to say that because the love and the passion that we feel as we work on these various projects, it shows up that night, right? People will feel welcomed. People will feel invited. People will feel like their presence is wanted there. And so I am encouraging everyone, come out and experience this for yourself. It may be your first time, but it will not be your last.
Good. Okay. Well, I've been speaking with LD Thomas and Christina Hahn, both representing Aurora and their video art night coming up in Dallas, April 17th at AT&T Discovery District in Denton, and then in Denton, June 12th at Quakertown Park. And remind me, it's auroradallas.com as the website. Is that correct?
That is correct. No, DallasAurora.com.
DallasAurora.com. Thank you so much. And thank you to both of you for taking time today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.